lovely to see all of you. Okay. Great. So, oh, and spotlight myself. So, if you sit with your legs long, and I mean, I've got I'd have, you know, just a little distance apart, and lean back on your arms. And I suppose actually the first thing you could do is just to roll your legs a little bit. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to have periods of movement, and then we're going to come to these focuses for our breathing from Thich Nhat Hanh. And then, yeah, roll the legs, and then a little bit of pointing your toes, pointing your heels, and seeing how these things feel. Good, pointing the toes, pointing the heels. Very nice. And then from here, you're going to keep leaning on one arm, and you're going to take the other arm around the back of one of your thighs. So that your foot, yeah, you can support your leg, and then you can circle your ankle and circle in both directions. Good, very nice. Okay, and then you're going to swap your arms over. You're going to take the arm that was on the floor and hold the outside edge of your foot, and you're going to lean onto the other arm. And then you can swing this leg a little bit from side to side. That's it, very nice. Good. So we just do all these sort of easing into things. And yeah, that's it, good. Very nice. Just a couple more times. Swinging the leg from side to side in the hip joint. Lovely. And what I'd like you to do actually is when we bring that leg down, is just come and for a moment rest the leg down on the ground. So it's a bit like you're in half of cobbler pose, and see how that feels. Okay. And then from here, we lengthen that leg out. Give your legs a little roll. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So you're going to lean into, yeah, you're going to bend the other knee towards you. They're circling your ankle, first of all, leaning onto your other arm. So just keep it really easy through your spine so you can focus on your feet and your legs and your hips. Okay, swap your arms over. So the other hand's going to hold the outside of your foot. You're going to lean into the arm that you were, it's just around the back of your thigh. And a bit of swinging this leg from side to side. But that's it, Sally. Yeah, hold like that. That's good. Very nice. And see how it feels on this side. Hi, May. We've only just started. We're in sitting. So from there, and actually, May, it's good. You can, if you join in with this next thing, from there, let that leg come and rest on the ground like we did before. So again, it's like you're in half of cobbler pose. And then what you're going to do from here is keep this leg long, lean onto that arm and bring this foot to stand on the floor. And if you see, I've got my foot just a little ways out to the side because you're going to do these two movements. You're going to rock your knee in and you're going to rock your knee out. Okay, that's it. And keep leaning on the other arm. So if you have your hand on this knee, you can let the leg be quite passive. That's it. So sort of use your arm to move your leg. Make sure you've got enough distance between your legs that this knee has the possibility. Yeah, I can't quite see, May, whether you've got enough room for this knee to be able to come down towards the floor. That's, yeah, I don't have to be able to see. Good. I mean, there's always a bit of a compromise because if this knee comes down to the floor, it's probably not going to go to the floor this way, but I'm more interested in going to the floor this way. Let's swap sides. So lengthen out that leg, lean onto the other arm, bend the other knee. And so we can find, and when you're letting your knee rock in towards the other leg, you can let this buttock come away from the floor. So you can really lean onto the buttock of the long leg. Okay, so just a couple more times. Rocking the leg in and out. So May, I was saying today that we're going to do sort of periods of movement and then periods of sort of quiet, focusing on our breathing using these Thich Nhat Hanh, I think they're gathas. Okay, and then just, that's it, lean back onto your hands, take your legs long and wide. They don't have to be really wide, although I know some of you like that. Give your legs a little bit of a roll. and just see how that feels for the moment. We'll come back here and stay for a couple more breaths. What I'd like you to do from here now is leaning onto your arms, so not using your hands, bring one foot and then the other foot into cobbler pose. And then I think this first time in cobbler pose, I would just like you to see how does it feel. So if you feel really you need to move or rock, that's absolutely fine, but we'll do a bit more of that in a moment. So maybe just another breath or two, yes. I mean, I think just feel what you're drawn to doing. But from here, we're going to come on into pinwheels. So let one knee come on top of the other knee and let your top leg slide back and come to a bit of circling here. So we can feel that this back leg here is a bit like the movement we were doing a moment ago when our knee was coming towards the long leg. So a little bit of circling in each direction. And you can go low, you can stay high. And then we're going to be coming into our pinwheel forward bend. And at this point, we're going to come to the focus on our breathing. And this is just a very simple one to start with. So you can turn towards this knee that's going out to the side. You can settle down. And our focus is breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. So come to those two simple focuses. For a couple more cycles of breath, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. So one more time, in and out. And then slowly walking your hands in towards you. Very nice. Let your back knee come on top of your front knee. Open your legs out into cobbler pose. And this time we'll stay a little bit longer in cobbler pose. So we could do some circling. So we've got all these possibilities. Circling is one possibility. Rocking is another possibility. Good, so I'm sort of holding that, so that's sort of rocking from side to side. So the weight is shifting from one buttock to the other. That's another possibility. We've got, to come back to a little bit of circling. We've got these side lengthening movements in cobbler pose, which I'm always interested in, because sometimes I do these and they really feel what I want, and then other times they're not so good. But I'm just thinking actually today it feels quite nice. And yes, May, sort of that folding forwards as well. Yes, that's nice, Mel, that sort of sweeping forwards in a circle. So again, it's very much just being led by what we feel with, what feels helpful, what feels good in cobbler pose. And then we'll move on into side two of pinwheel. So you can lean back onto your arms, you can fold your top knee over, you can slide that leg back. And again, you can start with some circling here. Good. Then again, you can keep your circling quite small and upright. You can do sort of bigger sweeping movements if you like. And as we move into the class today, I suppose we're going to be focusing on, what do I say, free movement, but some movements where we are just trying to be quite sort of loose and free. And yeah. So from here, when you're ready, folding over that knee that's going out to the side. And coming back to that focus on your breathing. So breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. In and out. So maybe for 2 or 3 more cycles of breath, in and out. It's naming each part of the breath, feeling the movement of the breath through you. Softening in the shoulders, good. And then from here, when you come back up, you're going to lean onto your hands and lengthen both legs out. And I was going to say at this point, we'll take our legs long and wide. And we'll just see with our legs long and wide. And you can be leaning back onto your hands as much as possible. I know some of you, Mel and Sally, seem to be particularly keen on this. I'd like you to come back to that breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Maybe just for 2 or 3 cycles of breath. So you could be leaning back onto your arms. Some of you might be leaning forwards onto your hands. So just be wherever you feel that you can be the most quiet and able to focus on your breathing. So feeling the movement of your breath, it might be that you close your eyes, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Letting the legs settle on the floor. Of course, you can roll your legs or bounce your knees a little bit if the legs are feeling a bit busy. One more time, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And then from here, we're going to come onto hands and knees. We're going to do a little bit of cat, a little bit of tail wagging, and then we're going to make our way up into standing through dog. So we're going to come back to cat and tail wagging later on. Tail wagging is side bending. So this is just really use these movements at this point to have a sense of how your body's feeling. Rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine down to the floor. And I always find when I come to cat, it's this sort of indication, what have I been doing in the last 24 hours? How does my body feel? So rounding and dipping. You can also pause. You can do a little bit of your tail wagging movement. So pause in a neutral, roughly neutral position. And imagining you have a tail and wagging your tail from side to side. And then when you're ready, you're going to come into dog pose. You're going to have a few breaths in that dog, and then you'll take that dog into a forward bend and up into standing. But yes, do give yourself a bit of time. Again, we'll be coming back to dog later on, but give yourself a few breaths, even if dog feels very creaky. Think about all the things we can do, bending the knees, walking on the spot. I think someone was shaking their head out. All these things we can do that help dog feel a bit more easy and comfortable. And have another couple of breaths there. 2 or 3 cycles of breath. That's it. And then moving through, from dog, moving through your forward bend and rolling up into standing, because we're going to be doing some more forward bendy things in standing. Very nice. So good. Arriving in standing. And the first thing we're going to do is our loose, easy swinging twist. So we're coming into standing to think about having these periods of movement and quite free movements. So we're trying not, I suppose the focus is less on any sort of precision and more on finding movement that feels free and easy in the body. Okay, good. So a couple more times, swinging your arms, letting them slap on your body. Good. And then I wanted us to come to, come to this the next focus from this Thich Nhat Hanh gatha, which is the one I'm particularly, probably like lots of you, I'm doing lots of gardening at the moment. So this is this very beautiful one where if you settle in standing, we'll bring our attention to our breathing. So now, breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. And so, yeah, I also have a house full of flowers after my birthday on Sunday, which is very lovely. So a few more times, breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. And I always love this image of, yeah, as soon as I say I feel fresh, I feel fresh. So breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. And then we're going to do this little sequence of movements where we are, I suppose, imagine that we are some sort of plant. And so the first one's going to be this sort of growing up. Yeah, I was thinking of growing up towards the sun, a bit of swaying. Yeah, just quite fluid and loose. And then from this sort of being long and tall and swaying, growing up, we come down into a forward bend and we can sweep our arms around the fronts of our feet a few times. That's it. And again, feeling sort of fluid. I suppose we are back to that image of a weeping willow. I was trying to think of other plants, so maybe harebells, the sort of plants that, bluebells that hang down towards the ground as well. And then from your forward bend, you're going to go on into a squat. So it's like, I was thinking it's like coming down into the seed. So this sort of curled up position that has all this potential for growth and movement. And then we're going to go back. So from our squat, we're going to go back into our forward bend, sweeping our arms around our feet. From our forward bend, we're going to then grow back up. So we're going to go back up into standing, back into these sort of swaying movements. And when I was doing these earlier today, I was doing a little bit of taking my gaze up towards the ceiling, which I'd normally say not to, but the idea of opening your face towards the sun like a flower would do. And then we can go back down again into our forward bend, sweeping the arms around. From the forward bend, back into the squat again. So back down into the squat, that sense of being the little seed. I've got some seeds that are not doing very much at the moment. I'm hoping they're going to find that movement. And we'll do this one more time. So coming into the forward bend again, sweeping your arms around, letting your head go, growing back up when you're ready into your long, that's it, opening plant. So we'll think how many squats we've done. We'll come down through one more forward bend and one more squat. So down into your forward bend. Good. Down into your forward bend, whatever you like in terms of arms, swaying, sweeping, and down into your squat. And then this time just rolling up through your forward bend, maybe just a normal forward bend. See how it feels without all the swaying and the sweeping. And then rolling back up into standing. Good. Maybe giving each leg a little shake out at that point, because everything else has been moving a lot apart from our feet, which have been quite planted. And then we're going to come to something I was doing last week with my Thursday and Friday groups. And I did this in my own practice, and it really just lifted my spirits. So look, we start with this one where you're drumming your fingers on your head. So again, I was thinking this is like the rain, which all the plants need. So drumming your fingers on your head, and you can drum your fingers down sort of the base of your neck onto your shoulders and start tapping a little bit. And then you start tapping, slapping your hand down your arm. Sort of, yeah, outside, inside. I just found it really interesting, and obviously swapping sides. When I started doing this last week, it instantly lifted my mood. And I think it's something about it takes us from that, inner focus where we're caught up with all our worries and inside, stuck inside ourselves. So we come to this Tarzan movement, slapping our chest down through the sides of our body. That's quite nice. Yeah, and then it brings us into this outer edge, our skin, and into feeling rather than worrying. And then this this gentle movement. I was just like, I think my belly is tender, needs a sort of bit of, yeah, nice movement, a circling hand. And then we do this one where you wrap your fingers around your thumbs and you swing your hands into these fists on your buttocks. Good. That one is quite nice. I think, yeah, if you're doing any walking or running, that feels quite good. And then you can start to go down into a forward bend, slapping your thighs and all the way round. This feels really, yeah, really nice. Down into a full band, slapping your calves and your shins. You might want to slap your feet, ankles, and then starting to make your way back up again. So back up through the thighs. Oh, that's nice. Back up to hands and fists, swinging them onto your buttocks. Back to just maybe a little bit of gentle circling on your belly. Good. Bit of those slapping through the sides of the body. Slapping on the chest. Slapping down your arms and onto the backs of your shoulders. You know, you didn't do that before. Right, then we might have to shake our feet out again. And then I'd like you to settle again in standing and come to the lotus flower mudra. So this is the one where we've got the base of the palms touching and the little fingers and the thumbs and the three fingers are spreading. But so I always used to do this as a stretch for the hands, but I think more recently in Zoom, I've thought about this as a sort of like a beautiful flower where we're not really stretching our hands. Our fingers are more like soft petals and it's a focus for our concentration. So you could have a couple of breaths here, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 breaths here, closing your eyes, coming back to that focus. So breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Breathing in, flower, breathing out, fresh. And then from here, we're going to take this into a little balance. So at this point, you would like to probably open your eyes. We're going to shift our weight onto one foot and just stand the other foot on top of the standing foot and keep your hands in this lotus flower mudra at your heart. So breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Just a couple more cycles of breath. Breathing in, flower. Breathing out, fresh. Very nice. So it might be good before we do side 2 to release the hands, give them a shake out, give the legs a shake out. And then come back to this lovely lotus flower mudra at the heart. I'm resting my thumbs on my breastbone and seeing how it feels from here to bring your weight onto your other foot. Stand the foot you were just standing on that foot. And then connect with your breathing and come back to that focus. So it's a focus for our imagination. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. And just see how it feels on this second foot. Lovely. Good. And then coming down, having a bit of a shake out. And I suppose I've been thinking a lot over the last week about how in this period, obviously we're out of lockdown, but our lives are still fairly restricted, and how the imagination has such an important role in helping us to feel less constrained. Bring your feet a little wider apart now. We're going to come into a bit more movement. So we're going to do these ones where we bring one arm up, but I want you to keep it really sort of loose and free. So the bottom arm could swing and we could move from side to side. And you can move from side to side quite rapidly. See, again, I think for me it's this bottom arm swinging. It feels really helpful. It seems to, yeah, it just seems to make the whole movement feel a bit looser and freer. Good. More free, maybe. Lovely. And then in a moment, what we're going to do, exactly that, Mel, is come into a forward bend with our feet this distance apart. And you're going to experiment with bending one knee and bending the other in your forward bends. And so there's a few ways you could do this. So it's good to have either have your fingertips on the floor or have your elbows resting on your thighs. And see, so you can bend one knee and bend the other by swinging your hips quite a lot from side to side. So that can feel quite nice and free to do. Bend your knee, let your hips swing from side to side. But you can also bend one knee and not let your hips swing so much. So you could have a little experiment with that. And then it might be nice just to soften into a forward bend with both knees bent, maybe swing your arms a little bit or sort of trail them around, or just let them be very soft and long. And then you're going to sink into your heels, come back up into standing, come back into those side lengthening movements we were doing. And we're going to go forward, we're going to go forwards again. And we're going to be moving into a twist. So I'm just going to actually remind you, where you're doing your side lengthening movements, when we come forwards, you're going to be bending one knee without swinging your pelvis, with tilting it. And then we're just going to be going from side to side several times. So probably more quickly than we normally would and more repetitions. I mean, but in a sort of easy, loose way. So coming forwards with your feet this distance apart. So the distance is maybe the narrow width of your mat. You're bending one knee, your fingertips stay on the floor in the center, and you're turning towards the straight leg. And then you just can go from side to side fairly quickly. This is what I was doing yesterday. Just think about this twisting as movement. How can we go from side to side? And it may well be that on one side, I was just thinking, yes, it's much harder for me to take my arm up. And you don't have to take your arm up. Your hand could come onto the back of your pelvis, if you prefer. Try to make sure your weight stays in your heels. Yeah, so that the fingertips are as light as possible on the floor. And of course, you know, carry on going from side to side, but it looks very nice actually. When you've had enough from side to side, just let yourself flop forwards again. That's nice. And whatever you feel like doing when you're flopping forwards. And then of course, yes, coming up into standing and having a little bit of a shake out. And then when you come back up, settling down with your feet a little distance, a smaller distance apart, and a little bit of swaying and standing. We're coming to a different focus. We're not going to stay so long with this one because I was far keener on flowers at the moment. We're going to be thinking about being a mountain. And it was quite interesting because when I was practicing yesterday, I tried taking this focus into tree pose and I thought, no, this feels all wrong. So we are going to take it into a balance, but not tree pose. So from swaying, I would like you to settle in standing and, you know, Tadasana, mountain pose. How does it feel to connect with our breathing? Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady, solid, stable. Just see if any of those words resonate with you. You don't have to have all three. I think Thich Nhat Hanh says solid, but that always makes me feel a bit downhearted. So breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady, solid, stable. Maybe choose what the word that resonates the most with you. Just a couple more times in standing. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady, solid, stable. And we're going to then just see how it feels to take this very different focus into a standing balance. And because I felt this didn't work with tree, we're going to come into this one. So if we bring one hand onto our breastbone, that's the leg we're going to stand on, and we're going to catch the top of the other foot. So we're coming into this balance. And we can let the arm grow up towards the ceiling if we like, or we can keep the hand on the breastbone. And then come back to your focus of breathing in. I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady. And just, see how that feels. And whether the focus does indeed help you to feel steady. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Good. Very nice. Yes, you can come back down. You can have a little shake out. We'll try the same on the other side. So it might be at this point, when you bring your hand onto your breastbone, you could start that feeling of breathing in. I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady. And just taking your time. You don't have to take your arm up. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel steady. Breathing in, mountain. Breathing out, steady, solid, stable. Very nice. Back down. Have a little shake out. And we're going to come to the back of our mat, and we're going to come again to moving. Yes, and I suppose again in a sort of fluid way. So maybe we're leaving the mountain behind and coming back to, well, we'll be kind of having another focus in a moment. But let's maybe I was thinking of a sort of fluid like water now. So hands in prayer pose, letting a breath come in as you exhale, taking your arms down and then up. You can feel long and tall for a moment. If you like those sort of swaying movements we did earlier, you can do those. And then all the way down into a forward bend. And again, feeling sort of loose and free as much as possible. And from your forward bend, walking on into dog pose. And having a few breaths in dog pose. And again, in dog pose, just seeing what can you do to help dog pose feel fluid. If it's feeling a bit stiff and stuck, this could be as simple as bending one knee, bending the other knee. Big exhalations. Letting the head hang off the end of the spine. And then coming onto hands and knees, coming back to your cat movements. And seeing how they feel, and seeing if we can take this sort of fluid, almost watery quality to cat pose. Rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine to the floor. And what about our tail wagging again? And this is what we're going to work with a bit more now. We're going to use this movement, this side to side movement of the pelvis, to start to take us back to child pose. So swinging your pelvis from side to side, moving towards child. When you're in child pose, you might want to slide your hands a little bit further forwards, further forwards, so that you can then start swinging your pelvis from side to side, moving forwards into face up dog. And do this 2 or 3 times. So these side to side sort of fluid movements towards moving back into child, forwards towards face up dog. You don't have to go all the way into face up dog yet. We're going to be repeating this a few times, this whole little sequence a few times. So maybe make this the last time you come forwards into face up dog, and then letting yourself move by swinging your pelvis from side to side all the way back into child pose. And settle in child pose. Come back to our very first focus, breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. And from child, come onto hands and knees. And so we're going to do a little sort of this sequence, but a couple of variations, a couple more times, just in kneeling. Sorry, did I say hands and knees? I meant kneeling. I'm just confused. Come to this, we're going to come to this other focus from Thich Nhat Hanh. So maybe palms up. This is one of my favorites at the moment. So breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. So see how that feels for a couple of cycles of breath and kneeling, maybe closing your eyes. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. Breathing in, still water. Breathing out, reflecting. So we'll come back to that. But first of all, come and move again. Come back onto hands and knees. So we're coming back to being moving water for a little bit. Come onto hands and knees. Give each leg a lengthen out behind you. And then you've got a little choice now. We're going to come back either into kneeling, or if you prefer, virasana, sitting down in between your heels. So I don't mind whichever one you prefer, because we're going to be doing this going back. So you can do this sitting on your heels if you prefer. So you're going back, but with this feeling of the pelvis tucking under, so we get the stretch through our quads. So whichever one you prefer. You might not like either. Neither of them are that great. Keep looking down at your belly so you're not letting your lower back arch. You're feeling sort of quiet through the front of your body. Good. Very nice. So we keep feeling like we're not stagnating water. Come on to hands and knees and we'll move on into dog pose. So tucking our toes under. So I think it's quite important if we're trying to feel ourselves being fluid that we don't get stuck in virasana. Bending your knees in dog. Letting the breath flow through you, resting down through the arms. So keeping dog feeling fluid. And from dog pose, coming back onto hands and knees. You might want this longer hands and knees position because we're going to come back to this side bending towards child pose. And this is swinging our pelvis from side to side towards face up dog. So yeah, I like this movement because I think in a way it is quite fluid. We sneak our way into face up dog by moving our pelvis side to side. And it's a bit like, I was thinking about how water finds its way through. Like whenever you try and dam up a stream, it always finds cracks to go through. So maybe 2 or 3 times forwards and back. Might be the third face up dog. You might have a couple of breaths in. And then again, folding back into child pose. Coming back to the breathing. Breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. And back to kneeling again. So back to kneeling, resting the back of your hands on your thighs. Coming back to that beautiful, beautiful focus on your bed, Otto. That beautiful focus. Sorry, Otto has a cough, his kennel cough. You don't want to hear that. So that beautiful focus, breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. And again, I think this reflecting all that is, it's a bit like when we do that tapping. Our focus shifts from being locked inside of ourselves to being more connected with what's around us. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. And then we'll go through the sequence one more time. So hands and knees, giving each leg a lengthen out behind you. And very much let yourself flow through the movements as feels right for you. So again, it's coming onto hands and knees. Otto, come on. Come on. He wants to see you scratching. Come on, your bed. So yes, into kneeling, coming into either going back, so Supta Vajrasana, going back from kneeling, or I'm sure this is all the one we all want to forget and miss out, or going back from Virasana. What we're looking for is this delightful feeling of stretch through our quads. Looking at the belly. And then yes, from your going back in kneeling or Virasana, coming on into a dog pose. So hands and knees, tucking your toes under. Rocking yourself up into dog pose. Having a few breaths there, seeing how you can find, what can you do to make sure dog pose doesn't get stuck? How can it feel? The sense of fluidity, it's, doesn't necessarily mean we're moving a lot. It might just mean that we're focusing on the breathing. We're feeling that as we exhale, we can soften, we can release the shoulders. And then coming down onto hands and knees. And one last time, back to, again, it could be a long hands and knees, back to your swinging your pelvis from side to side, moving back towards child pose, moving forwards towards face up dog. Good. That's nice. I think again, something I've been playing around with a lot in my practicing classes the last week or so. It's just this repetition of little sequences, quite simple things that I think can be quite soothing. The body and the mind. So yeah, 2 or 3 times. It might be your third. This will be the final face-up dog. You might have had plenty by now. You might have a couple of breaths there. And then one last time, we'll fold into child pose. And then we'll come back to that beautiful focus in kneeling. So coming into child pose, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Let your forehead rest on the ground, let your elbows settle down. And then last time, settling in kneeling. Again, I like in this one for me, this feeling of the palms facing up seems to go with this sense of reflecting. So you don't have to sit like this, but I find it helpful. So again, closing your eyes if you like, breathing in. I see myself as still water. Breathing out. I reflect all that is. And we'll stay with this just for a few cycles of breath. And I'll ring the bowl, and when I ring the bowl, you can then lie down. So breathing in, still water. Breathing out, reflecting. Yes, so when you're ready, you can lie down. This doesn't mean we're going to sleep. We're going to do some movements lying down, as you haven't had any lying down. We have one last focus from the Thich Nhat Hanh gatha. So just settle yourself down on your backs. And you can, of course, have a blanket on, and you can always, if we're moving, the blanket can come off between movements. So settle yourself down on your back and just start by bringing your hands onto your belly. And coming to the breathing in, I know I am breathing in, breathing out, I know I am breathing out. With the hands resting on the belly. And you can let your head roll a little bit to the right and to the left. You can feel the contact of the back of your head on the floor. You could also bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor and let your knees tilt to the right and to the left. That's nice. And noticing how that feels. So again, I think it's always interesting to come to these movements we often do at the beginning of class, and how do they feel at the end. And maybe there's a sense that we can just be really easy with them. There's no pressure. Okay, settle in the center. You can keep your knees bent, or you can lengthen your legs out, whichever is most comfortable. And you're going to bring your hands onto your low front ribs. And just connect with the movement of your breath in your low front ribs. So if you can feel your ribs widening as you breathe in, rising. So the hands are maybe slightly out to the side and narrowing as you exhale. And this is a very beautiful focus here. It's breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. So I thought our focus would be particularly on the space within the rib cage. I mean, there's lots of ways we could see ourselves as space, but that's our little focus for now. So maybe one or two more cycles of breath. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. And then I'd like you to take your arms up and make that circle where we interlink our fingers. So we have our arms in a circle above our chest. Yeah. And then you're rocking from side to side across the back of your shoulders. So if your knees are bent, don't let your knees tilt. Keep your circle circular. So you're rocking your weight towards the back of your right shoulder, the back of your left shoulder. You're letting your head move with your arms. So this is where we imagine we're holding a beach ball on our chest. That's it. And we're rocking across the upper back, and we're massaging across the upper back. Good. We're not going so far that our circle becomes some strange parallelograms shape. Very nice. So a couple more times. Carry on just until the arms start to feel maybe they're getting tired, and then bring the arms down to rest. Let the arms rest on the floor. If your legs were long, once your arms are resting down, if your legs are long, bend your knees, stand your feet on the floor. Come back to tilting your knees to the right and to the left. Very nice, lovely. And then pause in the center and fold your knees into your chest. And you can hold your knees and you can rock a little bit holding around your knees. But then what I'd like you to do is keep your knees folded into your chest, but bring your elbows onto the floor. So you've got your elbows on the floor beside your body, and you've got your hands, your forearms are off the floor. So your hands can rock your knees can rock side to side into your hands. So if you're not sure, look at me. I think you all know this one. So that's it. You're rocking your knees from side to side into your hands. And again, just carry on with that one, particularly if it feels nice across the back of the pelvis. I'm just thinking how lovely this feels. I pressure washed my patio yesterday and my body is still complaining. Okay, a couple more times. And then you're going to take your legs up towards the ceiling and give them a shake out. Add your arms in if you like. And then we did this last week, but it's still one of my favourite things at the moment. From your legs being up, you're going to obviously bend your knees a bit, wrap one of your arms around the back of your knees. We're going to come into a floor twist. So one arm's wrapped around the back of your thighs, the other arm comes down at the floor at shoulder height. And then you're going to support your knees as you bring them down towards the floor in the opposite direction to the arm. And it might be, at the moment, I'm really keeping my arm under my legs and keeping my knees close to my chest. And then just settling into this twist. And it was very interesting when I was practicing yesterday with this, I was thinking about the space free. And I thought, oh, I don't feel very spacious here or free. So I suggest, you can explore that. But it might be more helpful just to stick with the breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. So using the inhalation and the exhalation just to help you settle in the twist. Perhaps when we're inhaling in a twist like this, we feel wide across the top of the chest. That's where there's some space to widen to receive the in-breath. As we exhale, we settle through the shoulder and the long arm and the legs. Good. You can have another couple of breaths there if you like. And you can bring your legs back to the centre. And we'll do the other side. So again, you might want to take your legs up to the ceiling again. So I just find this really helps the twist for me. If I've taken my legs up to the ceiling, I've given them a shake out, and then when I'm bringing my arm around the back of my legs, it's immediately after the legs being up to the ceiling. Swapping your arms over, so we'll go into the other side of the floor twist. And again, it might be that you want to put a cushion under your knees. Or you just keep your arm under your legs. You can, if your legs go down to the floor really easily, of course you can take your arm out from under them. But it really depends how your body is feeling today. That's nice. Some of you got a cushion between your knees. That's a good idea. And then again, settling in the twist. You could explore the space and free. But for me, I think in a twist, the space is a bit limited. So you're just breathing in, I know I am breathing in, feeling your breath possibly across the upper part of your chest. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. That's when we can settle onto the floor, release tension. Feel our legs are heavy on one side, our shoulder is heavy on the other side. Give yourself another couple of breaths. And when you're ready, you can come back to the center. You could take your legs up to the ceiling one last time if you like. And then I'd like you to settle on your backs. We're going to do one more rocking movement in a moment, but I'd like you to settle on your backs and just come back to resting your hands on your low front ribs, maybe a bit out to the side. And coming back to this focus of breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. And just how after these twists, whether there is any more feeling of space and freedom in the breathing, in the rib cage. Just perhaps in our sense of ourself, breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Couple more cycles of breath. And then lie with your knees bent and cross your arms over your chest. And we're going to do that nice rocking movement where we let the knees and the elbows and the head all rock to the right and then all rock to the left. So we're rolling from side to side across the back of our body. So yeah, it's this sort of easy, free, fluid movement. Giving ourselves a bit of a massage. Yes, as I can see some of you doing, rather than rolling onto your fingers, you can sort of trail your fingers out away from the sides of your body. If you are rolling onto your fingers and it's uncomfortable. Good. So you can do that a few more times and then we will finish just lying quietly. So definitely blankets or warm things on if you like. And if you wanted to, in these last few minutes of lying, if you wanted to revisit any of the focuses we've had for the in and the out breath, I'll remind you of them. And I would say maybe just choose one. But it also might be that you just want to lie and, as it says in my book, just be. So breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid, stable, steady. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. So, staying with one of those focuses, if you like, but also just giving yourself the opportunity to just be lying quietly. We'll have another minute or so. So thank you very much, everyone.